Hope you're doing well. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Tressa. I forgot to say that. Today I'm gonna make sticky buns. I was gonna make, this is for my Easter collaboration with Elvis Pennsylvania Cooking and Homestead, which is an awesome channel. Please check her out. She can cook anything, and she has lots of chickens, and she has fresh eggs, and anyway, she's just awesome, and she gives a lot of history about her recipes. She's just full of knowledge, and she likes to share it. But I've never made sticky buns before, and I'm going to use my Cook's Illustrated book, and I may have to, how I like to just, throw things here and there. Anyway, and I like to do it kind of faster than some of the recipes say. But I thought we would do this for Easter. I was going to make a coconut cake, but I changed my mind because I kind of need to practice that, the icing that you have to make for that. Anyway, so let's get started, and I think these are going to be delicious, and I love to bake with yeast. So let's get started baking. As you all know by now, the people that watch my videos, and thank you to the new subscribers. I'm really excited. I want to show you, well, that's some of my ingredients, but I always get started with my pan. We're going to use a 9x13 pan, and I always put it on a baking sheet with parchment paper. And I'm going to put that to the side. And it also calls for buttermilk. This recipe is a little bit different, and it's supposed to be room temperature. And mine was in the refrigerator, so I'm going to heat it in the microwave for about 25 seconds, and it should be room temperature. But anyway, I just wanted to tell you those little tidbits. I have all my ingredients ready. And we're going to just start mixing it in the bowl first. And then, so I'm going to have to kind of refer back to my book a little bit because it's on the other side of the camera, but we'll get it done. And also, I always like to leave, make sure that I let you know that I always preheat my oven until about 125 degrees. And as soon as it hits that, I turn it off, and then I leave the light on. And it just creates a little bit of warmth. And next time, I'll just leave my buttermilk out the whole time. I heated it just a tiny bit, but it's okay. It's still room temperature, but you have to be careful with that. I'm gonna use instant yeast because I used all my fresh yeast, which was so much fun to use. I even bought a little bit more, but I ran out already. So the first thing we're gonna do is I think I'm just gonna start we'll whisk the eggs, the buttermilk, and first. So let me get my whisk. I forgot the whisk. So we're gonna need 3 large eggs, and my eggs have been out almost all day because I knew I wanted to bake something. So I usually take out my butter and my eggs, like a few eggs in the morning until I decide what I want to make that day. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but that way it's always ready. So I'm going to whisk those up nicely and throw them in my bowl. And we're going to put in 6 tablespoons of melted butter. You can use unsalted. That's what the recipe calls for, but mine's salted. I like to use salted butter. I know a lot of people say that's just a no-no in baking. I really like the salted butter in cookies. That's my favorite. And let's see. Add buttermilk. Let's see. Whisk eggs. Add buttermilk and whisk in the sugar, yeast, and salt. So we're going to put in 1/4 cup of sugar. And I'm just going to, and it's just regular granulated sugar. Mine's probably a little bit extra. I like a little bit of a sweetness. I'm also going to add just a little bit of vanilla. I don't like my dough to, I just like it a little sweet. I'm going to whisk this together. And then we're going to put the yeast in. And you can also, sometimes I put a pot of water on the stove and I heat that up, and then I'll pour it in a pan and put it in the oven. And create steam in the oven. I may do that too, because it's always, I don't know why, but I'm waiting until it's late lately to get my baking done. A lot's been going on, so I'm going to put 2, it says 2 1/4. I usually put 2 1/2 just because I don't listen to recipes. I just am like that. But I'm going to write the recipe for you guys. It's in the description. Now, I'm also going to, I'm going to put first you're going to put in the buttermilk. I forgot about the buttermilk. I knew something was wrong. Pour that in. And that's 3/4 of a cup of buttermilk. Buttermilk's going to give it a nice acidity, tang to balance the sweetness. And it says to use all-purpose flour. You know, I like to mix my flours. I like to use a little bread flour, a little all-purpose flour. I'm gonna. It calls for 4 1/4 cups of flour, but I think I'm gonna mostly stick with all-purpose flour today. And I might use like 1 cup of bread flour. But we're gonna start with 2 cups. And I like to fluff it up. I know you probably can't see me measuring it, but I like to, and I get flour everywhere. And then I just, you know, pat it down and then level it off with my knife. Let me take my whisk out because we're going to need a spatula. So that's 1. And we're going to mix this first part by hand with a spatula. Let's see if I can find my favorite. I still didn't find the replacement for my favorite spatula. I can't find the exact one that I'm looking for. I guess I could look on Amazon, but sometimes you see the picture and it's not the same as the... So I don't know if you can see that. I'm just stirring it. I'm going to make sure it all gets moistened. All the flour gets moistened. Stir it up pretty good. And now I'm going to add my 1 1/2 teaspoons of salt. Stir that in. Some people have different ways of adding the salt, different times when they add it. If I'm making bread, I just add it with the flour. See, that looks good. See, that's nice and wet. It's pretty moist, and I got most of the lumps out. So now we're going to take this out, scrape this off. I forgot one thing, a little plate to put my dirty spatula on. That's okay. So let's put this, now we're going to add 1 cup of bread flour, which is really not necessary. You can use just all-purpose flour, or you can use bread flour. They call for different things, and I got my knife dirty. So that's 1. So that makes 3 cups total. So we're only going to add, I think it says to keep out, it's the 4th cup. So we're going to add 1 more cup of the all-purpose flour. So that makes a total of 4. And then we're going to put it on the mixer with the dough hook and see the consistency we come out with. So let me clean up my mess a little bit, and then I'll move the camera over and we'll get started. Moved over, and I have the dough hook on, so I'm going to start mixing it. You know, and you might want to hold back a little bit more flour than what I did. Hopefully this comes out, but you know, you can always add more liquid if you have to. But it is much easier adding flour than it is liquid. But let's see what we got. I'll bring you back when it's combined. To show you what it looks like. It's a little bit sticky at the bottom, but I'm going to keep kneading it. And if I have to add a little bit more flour, we'll just go from there. But I'm going to go ahead and probably have to add a couple tablespoons, but I'm going to let it knead for about 5 minutes, and I'll bring you show you. It's still a little sticky. I hope you can see that. But this recipe is a little bit different. So it says to add 1 tablespoon at a time. So sorry about my arm, but I put my flour in the wrong place. So I'm going to put about this much, which is about 1 tablespoon, and then knead this in. And we're going to knead it, continue kneading for 5 minutes, check the consistency again. If we add another tablespoon, we'll add another 5 minutes to the kneading time. Okay, I just wanted to show you, it's still, you want it to be, I'll tell you exactly what it says. You want the dough to be not wet and sticky, but you want it to be soft and moist. So I'm going to add actually a 1/2 tablespoon of flour this time. Let me move it over so I don't put my arm in the way, because I do want it to. You want it to stick to the bottom just a little bit, and you definitely don't want it to dry out your dough. So I'm going to knead it for about 5 more minutes on low speed, and then we're going to take it out. And I already have my bowl ready, my grease bowl ready. I just want to show you I'm kneading it on 1 and 2. But it's It's looking good. So we'll be finished kneading, and I'm going to show you one more thing. I'm touching it, and I want you to see that it's soft and moist, but see, it's not sticking to my hand. So I think it's just about ready. So let's move it over. We're going to just knead it onto the counter for a second and then put it in our big grease bowl. So let me move you over and we'll do the next glass bowl, and I just sprayed it with a little oil. Sometimes I would use butter, but most of the time I just use the spray. So I'm trying to get it all off the bottom. And if you find that it's too sticky at this point in time, you just knead it on the counter with about one more tablespoon of flour. But I'm going to leave mine like this. I don't really do much hand kneading. I just kind of form it into one of those balls, you know, like this, and just plop it to my bowl. And it stuck to me just a tiny bit, but not bad. It comes right off. And then I'm going to take just a tiny bit of spray and spray the top, because I don't want it to dry out. I'm going to cover it with plastic wrap, or you could use a tea towel. I just like the plastic wrap. I feel like it holds in the moisture a little bit better, but I do use tea towels from time to time, or I put it on top of this actually when I really am in a hurry. So I have this. This is gonna go into my warm oven. You know, it's not very warm, just a little warm. I took my oven thermometer out, or I'll tell you the exact temperature. But we'll do this, and then we'll go to the next. My pecans ready. I just wanted to show you, I keep my pecans in the freezer in a Ziploc bag. You could vacuum seal them. I need to show y'all my vacuum sealer whenever I learn how to really use it. But these are supposed to be chopped, and I don't know how fine. You can chop them as fine as you want, but it needs 3/4 of a cup. So, and these are, I'm gonna let these. You can also, they recommend toasting these too, and I like a little extra pecans actually. Actually, I like a little extra caramel at the bottom, so you know, I'm probably going to add a little bit more. And let's pray that it comes out. I think I never made sticky buns because I don't know if I could get it out of the pan. So today we'll see. I'll start making the topping. This is about 3 tablespoons of butter and a little over 1/4 of a cup of light brown sugar. And then I'll need about 3 tablespoons of light corn syrup. So I'm just going to guess, and this may mess me up, but I'm pretty good at doing. I like a little extra caramel, or whatever you call the topping. And we're going to add a pinch of salt. And then once this is ready, we're going to add some vanilla. So I'm going to heat this up and let it come to a boil. The recipe actually has a caramel that's going to go at the bottom of this pan, and also a topping. So we're going to add a little bit more ingredients because I didn't add quite enough. We're just going to, and I'll give you the correct measurements on if. So we need about 6 tablespoons of butter. And I'm going to add some more brown sugar. And a little bit, and I drop some stove. And I already added a pinch of salt, so we're going to add a little bit more light corn syrup. You need 6 tablespoons altogether. 1, 2, 3. This is what's going to go at the bottom of the pan. So I'm going to get my whisk and start whisking. And I'm going to boil this for a second, and then I'll bring it back. We just need 3/4 cup of brown sugar, packed. These are going to be really sweet. And 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. And it calls for cloves, but I really do not like cloves, so I will not be adding that. But I will probably add a pinch of nutmeg. And we're going to add a pinch of salt. And you just want to mix this so there's no lumps. And we're going to have a tablespoon of butter melted on the side to spread on the dough. Just take a little whisk and just combine this. And like I said, I'll just get my nutmeg and add a pinch of nutmeg. I'm going to use fresh nutmeg. I find that fresh is really just a better flavor. I really enjoy using this. I'm just going to use the microplane and just, I guess, I'm probably going to use about a little less than 1/4 of a teaspoon. You don't want to add too much because it's a really strong spice. And it can overpower other flavors if you put too much. And I'm just going to break this up with my fingers when I'm spreading it. Oh, it smells so good. This might be a mistake, or it might not. It might be something great. But since it's Easter, and I was determined to use coconut in some fashion, what I'm going to do is, I keep this also in the freezer, so it's kind of lumped up. I probably should put it in a food processor, but I'm kind of in a hurry. So I'm just going to take just a little bit, and I'm going to sprinkle it. And you can use desiccated coconut, you could use fresh coconut, but hopefully it won't burn in here. I think it's going to give it a nice little flavor. I also have a recipe in one of my books called coconut buns, and I'm going to make those soon, and it calls for fresh coconut, and they look absolutely delicious. So that's probably about 1/4 of a cup, and that should do it. Get my dough out of the oven. I'm going to sprinkle just a little bit of flour on my, oh, I forgot to tape my, hold on, I forgot to tape my thing. Sorry. My dough I actually went over an hour a little bit. So we just want to punch it down. And let's take it out of the bowl. It's really soft. My oven's pretty warm. Let's take it out, move this out of the way. And so just kind of start pressing it. And what we want to do is try to roll it out to a 16 by 12, which I never get the exact measurements, but if I had to do it over again, I don't know if I would have added the vanilla to the dough. Hopefully it won't be too sweet, but I do like a sweet dough. It won't bother me, but it might bother some people. It's going to roll out pretty easily. And my hardest thing is trying to get it the even thickness. Always get it a little crooked. So I just take my little bent scraper out and I just kind of keep working it to make it a good rectangle. I'm going to start rolling with the long side. And you just want to, just roll it up and kind of pull it as you go to tighten it a little bit. It's really soft, so you have to be careful. And you're going to arrange it in the pan, cut side down. But we'll get to that, I guess. I'm jumping the gun. Brush that flour off. Try to push the edges in and pull it a little bit tighter. And then I'm going to take this end here and pull it over and seal it the best I can. This does really nice to work, easy to work with. It's soft and pliable. And always, my ends are always funky. And you want to make it kind of even. And just, sometimes you have to go over it more than once with it pinching. Sometimes you have to use a little water as well to really seal it. So I'm going to turn it over. And I'm actually going to measure this because it should be about 18 inches. And it's exactly 18. So I'm not going to be, you know, extremely precise about this. I'm just going to, I'll usually just cut it in half. And cut it in half again. And then I'm going to cut these into 3. And some people use dental floss or serrated knife so that it doesn't get mashed down like mine do, but it always come out okay. And sometimes I don't even keep the ends because this one has a little bit, see. So I'm just going to take my pan. I don't know if you can see my pan. I'm going to arrange them cut side. I gotta check the, let's see. There's 12 buns. Arrangement, cut side down. Okay, cut side down. So we're gonna take this side and put it down. I'm gonna put 3 across. And this actually says that they may have to rise another 1.5 hours, which my oven's pretty warm, so I probably won't wait that long. I really like this pan. It's just one of those pans I got from Walmart. It's got a nice lid with it and everything. And the end ones are a little bit smaller, as you can see. But that's okay. Did I just do that the wrong way? Oh well, that works. I'm just gonna smash them down a little bit. And then I'm gonna cover these like this. Doesn't that look nice? Cover these and put them in the oven. And I'll show you when they are doubled in size. Show you what they look like. This is enough for me. My oven's pretty warm, so they roast for about 30 minutes. And they're going to rise some more when I preheat my oven. I'm going to preheat it I'm going to bake them at 350, and I'll let you know how long it takes to bake. Okay, I just took these out of the oven. They baked about 30 minutes, and I had to put aluminum foil on. I should have put it on sooner. They got a little dark, but I'm going to let them rest in here for about 10 minutes. I'm going to set my timer, and then I'm going to attempt, I don't know why it does that, to flip them out of the pan. Okay, I'm going to flip them out now. Like that. It's very messy. But that's the first time I ever made sticky buns. They look good. Just take a picture like this. Here's my pretty sticky buns. I think you call them, yeah, sticky buns with pecans. That's what I'm going to call them. And see how fluffy they are? This is really nice dough. And they're full of, you can almost even add some more nuts, but they're very hot still. I just want to tear it open so you can really see how soft. This is my favorite kind of dough. See how hot it is? I don't want to burn myself.
Be careful.
Oh my gosh. These are amazing. And I do not regret adding the vanilla and the sugar to the dough. I actually like it sweet. The more sugar, the better at this time of the day for me. This is really... they even had a glaze you can put on top, but I figured this is just plenty. So I stopped it here. Plus, it's my bedtime. These are really good. Anyway... I will put the recipe the way I made it in the description box. Please give these a try, especially if you like to bake with yeast breads, doughs. I mean, you can just see, look, I'll show them how pretty they are. Hopefully they'll be just as good tomorrow if you pop them in the microwave. But I just can't get over how great they are. I actually like these better than cinnamon rolls, I believe. So please give this a try. Please subscribe if you like these videos. These take a little bit of time, but they're totally worth the effort. And I'd like to thank Helga's Pennsylvania Cooking and Homestead again for this Easter collab. It was a lot of fun. I hope everybody has a great holiday, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.
I have clay in my hand.